What's going on, y'all? It's David or Dawhveed. So one of my most popular builds was the Pestilent Wizard build for Flak, where you use radiation damage or magic to transform your enemies into yellow clouds that transform nearby enemies into yellow clouds and so on. Since that video's release, we've gotten a few new toys to play with and several more levels to add with more skill points to our build. So I'm first going to go over the skill tree and just cover some of the important skills here, as well as some other alternative skills you can use if you wish. First, I want to cover the Hunter tree, since that's where the majority of the points actually go into. In order to have a very self-sustaining build, I do like to max out the Megavore skill package, which consists of Leave No Trace, Head Count, and finally Megavore. Leave No Trace helps us keep up on our ammo count, and Head Count allows for our action skill to have a very low cooldown, with Megavore being the catalyst here to not only buff our damage, but also enable us to proc the other two skills much easier. We also have the Hunter skill package of Interplanetary Stalker, the Most Dangerous Game, Furious Attack from the Stalker tree, Frenzy from the Master tree, and finally Big Game to buff all of those skills. Those all pretty much give us crazy damage boosts once they are procced, and Big Game amplifies the boost's effectiveness and duration. Some alternative skills that you can run from this tree are Hunter's Eye over Interplanetary Stalker. Hunter's Eye is really good if you choose to run a Bounty Hunter class mod, and Ambush Predator is pretty good in like niche sniping builds. Next, I'll cover the Stalker and Master trees. So normally I would spec all the way down the orange tree and then also all the way down the green tree for the most amount of damage. But in this build, I spec'd far enough into the green tree to unlock the augments that I want, then I spec'd more into the blue tree for survivability purposes. So in the Stalker tree, some important skills here are Overclocked and Furious Attack. Furious Attack is a stacking damage buff that's part of the Hunter skill package, and Overclocked is actually native only to this specific build for the gun that I will be running. Normally I go Eager to Impress, which I would highly recommend for you to run instead if you aren't copying this build 100%. Over on the Master tree, we have another part of the Hunter skill package, Frenzy, which you probably guessed it already is a stacking buff for us. Although the reasons that I spec'd here into the blue tree are for Hive Mind to reduce the damage that I take, and Who Rescued Who comboed with He Bites. He Bites returns damage that our pet takes to the attacker, and in doing so, it procs Who Rescued Who to heal me, as well as proccing a stack of Frenzy each time. The action skill for this build, as you may have already noticed, is Fade Away. Fade Away is the perfect blend of offense and defense for Flak. You can use it to get your crit shots off, or you can just use it to like run away and regen your HP and shield instead. My augments of choice here are Not My Circus and Until You Are Dead. Not My Circus allows for a pet to tank up enemies while we mow them down, which helps keep the pressure off of us while also proccing the He Bites skill package of He Bites, Who Rescued Who, and Frenzy. I would like to note that I absolutely do not, I repeat, do not recommend running Gorillas in the Mist as an augment for a few reasons. Number one, it reduces crit damage by quite a bit, and it might seem small on paper, but it feels really bad in practice. Number two, it reduces the duration of your action skill also by a large amount, meaning that you can't really use it to get into a better position safely to regen your HP and shields. And thirdly, the most important one in my opinion, you cannot end it early if you choose to. This is so crucial, because you'll see later that I do like to run action skill and anointed gear, and it feels really bad to run those when you can't quickly end your action skill. My pet of choice here is the Spider Ant Scorcher, because I just absolutely adore this creature, and the elemental damage really helps this build since it's mainly centered around radiation damage. Now speaking of the build, we can finally go over the gear, which is by far my favorite part of this build. So first up, we have our main weapon, the Radiation Redistributor, with ASE corrosive damage. So with this being my Pestilent Wizard build, this is sort of like my Pestilent Wizard staff. It does a hefty amount of radiation damage as well as corrosive damage, which also falls under the Pestilent category. I chose this weapon because of how well the unique ability works. Every 7th shot chains the nearby enemies, dealing even more radiation and corrosive damage, and as you can see, eventually every single enemy explodes in a noxious cloud of radiation and corrosion. Alongside our magic staff, we have our magic shield, the Jailbroken Old God. The Old God is a new shield from DLC 2, Guns, Love, and Tentacles. It gives you extra elemental damage based on what element is infused into it, and extra elemental resistance. This particular shield is infused with radiation, so we get an extra 20% bonus radiation damage, as well as the bonus radiation damage from the infused anointment. The extra radiation damage really suits this build rather perfectly to help us morph the enemies into clouds quicker, and the extra resistance helps shield us from the cloud damage since it's really harmful actually. Combined with our magic shield, we also have the Hex chain spell with the radiation recurring hex. So the Hex is amazing at a couple of things here. It has a really high chance to irradiate the enemy, it attacks frequently and can crit from Megavore, setting off our Leave No Trace and Headcount combo, and 3, this particular Hex is anointed with a Cryo ASC, and Cryo is a perfect type coverage with radiation damage that also gives us a chance to freeze the enemies. So with our magic staff, the Redistributor, our magic shield, the Old God, and our radiation spell, the Recurring Hex, we pretty much have a Holy Trinity core that you can pretty much slap on whatever artifact and class mod that you want and it'll turn out just fine. Obviously some are better than others, and here are the 2 that I use and highly recommend that you use as well. So first, I have a friendbot class mod. So the 2 most important things on this one are the friendbot's innate ability to revive your pet by killing an enemy, and second, the Hyperion weapon critical damage stat that it rolled. Ideally, for a perfect friendbot here, you would want +5 barbaric yacht points, Hyperion crit damage, weapon crit damage, and either Hyperion fire rate, action skill cooldown rate, or magazine size. This was just the best one that I could farm so far, and I am happy to say that it works just fine, so don't stress about finding a perfect one. Other notable class mods here are a Bounty Hunter or Cosmic Stalker, both of which have a good time and place for when they're better or worse. For my artifact, I use an Atom Bomb Auto Idol, which ties in extremely well with this build. Atom Bombs enhance the radiation status effect aura, as well as buffing the radius and damage of the explosion, and Auto Idols provide you with some ability to heal from killing enemies. I have yet to find one of these for my level yet. Because of the combo of magazine size, radiation damage, and irradiate chance, it's pretty much the best you can come across for this build, maybe only second to like a magazine size, radiation damage, and action skill cooldown rate one. So here is the entire build in all of its glory. While I let the rest of my Mayhem 4 Slaughter Shaft run play out, I would like to cover quickly the best way to play this build, mainly for mobbing. Basically, you want to lead off with Fadeaway because that is going to allow you to get into a good position and eventually proc your ASE Annoyance. Once you start firing from Fadeaway, your next 3 shots are guaranteed to crit, and in doing so, you now have bonus damage from your ASE Annoyance, and after the next 4 shots, you chain all of that damage around to nearby enemies. This all happens really quickly, within like a matter of seconds. You want to try to fire into a group of enemies to get the most out of your Redistributor chain effect, but make sure to stay a relatively safe distance away so the radiation explosion doesn't down you. If you need a reload or are taking a lot of damage, your pet should be tanking most of the enemies left alive with the Not My Circus augment, and your Fadeaway should be back up already, if not like really soon. So you can use Fadeaway to regen your health and shields or to reload, and while doing so you can safely toss nades or your Hex chain spell to get off some easy damage without breaking Fadeaway. Then once you're ready, just rinse and repeat the whole process until all of your enemies have gone poof! And that, my friends, is going to do it for this build breakdown. I will be letting the rest of my Mayhem 4 Slaughter Shaft run play out with some chill music for those of you that are interested in watching how this build holds up. If this was something that you liked, then make sure to go rack attack that thumbs up button because it helps my channel out a ton. The original version of this build got over 1,000 likes, so let's try and break that one here with 1,500 likes on this video. Don't be afraid to leave me a comment because I am really good at responding to them, and if you're a true epic gamer, make sure to gamma burst that subscribe button and notification bell to stay up to date on all of my content. I'm gonna go ahead and let the rest of the run play out. I'll talk to you all later.
torque weaponry just to make me fucking happy! Let's do this thing!
I like your enthusiasm, Keys. You there. How are your last breaths? us down!
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Make sure to rack attack that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Thank you so much again, and I will check you all in the next video. See ya!